What's up, guys? Welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. Today's topic is going to be a continuation off of a video that I recently did, which if you haven't seen, you can watch here or at the link in the description box. And it was called My First Year in LA. And I got a ton of questions from people who do not live in LA and some not even in the US who asked me tons of questions about living in LA. And I want to be able to give you guys as much knowledge as I can. If you're thinking about living here, if you're thinking about moving here, I would love to be able to share all of these experiences with you guys in hopes to maybe give you guys some of that information that you need. Without further ado, let's get into the 5 things that I highly recommend you consider before moving to LA. I think it's very important to know why you're moving to LA. And I know this sounds like a no-brainer and it sounds super cliche, but really ask yourself, why do you want to live here? I think it's so important with any place that you move to, especially LA, that you have a very clear reason why you want to live there. Because the reason is, if you do not have a clear enough reason, you're gonna end up wanting to get the hell out of here as fast as possible. And I promise you're not gonna probably love it at first sight. There might be cases where you do, but for someone who's not originally from California especially, there might be a really huge, for lack of a better word, culture shock. Rule number 1, know why you want to move here. Like, what is it that really drives you to want to be here? I know it's the land of dreams where anything is possible, but still have a very clear reason why you want to be here. What is it about LA that really drives you to be here? And I think once you know that, you will be able to get through tough times, not meeting people right away, and really just like all of the newness of LA that I think can be overwhelming if you're not mentally prepared for it. So, you know, it's a huge city. There's a lot going on. And yes, there is a lot of opportunity, but I truly feel if you don't come out here with somewhat of a plan, it's going to really discourage you. And unless you're willing to stick through it and just ride it out and grow here, I know so many people who have moved here and just kind of like winged it. And, you know, while that's all great, if you're just moving for an experience, like I said, it can be lonely. And I know that a lot of people have ended up being more isolated out here because they just really didn't know how to function in a city like this, where, you know, there's so much going on. There's a lot of pressure to get your career together and to make moves fast. And, you know, at least for the most part, if you're moving here, I would like to assume that you're moving because you want to be in the entertainment field of some sort. You want to do something that is really high in demand out here where there's a lot of competition. And if it's just to test things out, I recommend you probably visit a few times first, maybe get an Airbnb, stay at a family or friend's house, and just really scope out the location before you commit. So the second thing I would have to say is, whatever your budget is for living expenses, be prepared to double, maybe even triple it, because coming from someone who lived in the Bay Area where it also was not cheap to live, moving to LA was really a rude awakening about how much it really costs to live here. And, you know, you might think, oh, I don't want to live in a fancy smancy place. I just want to, you know, find a place to live and work from there. But even at that, you guys, not even for the most luxurious apartment, you're gonna find that everything is very expensive, especially if you're wanting to be in a prime location or a prime area where you don't have to drive an hour or 2 or more to get to where everything is. So really consider, you know, the budgeting. Like, look at the prices online, but also be ready to, you know, just to spend more. So we came out here with, I would say, a pretty decent, what we thought, budget for finding a place to live. And, you know, we were not looking for anything super extravagant. We just wanted something that was safe, that felt clean, and that had enough space for 2 of us, but still was close by where we could get around the city without having to be in traffic so much. And, you know, I truly feel we lucked out with the place that we have and for the price that we pay. Now, a ton of people might beg to differ. I know my family looks at me like, you are crazy, you're paying a house rent somewhere. And I'm like, I know, but, you know, for what it is in LA, trust me, we got a good deal. And I think it's just a really like kind of weighing out what is going to be worth what. So really just make sure that you aren't like hoping for the lowest price possible, because while it's great to be optimistic, just be prepared to expand your budget just a little bit, because I can promise you it is pricier than you think. The third thing is going to be finding the right location. I'm actually working on a more in-depth video. If you guys would like an in-depth video about what parts of LA are the most popular to live in, maybe some places not to live in, leave a comment below and let me know. I think it's very important to know the location you want to live in. And it's very hard, I know, for some people who are out of the country who maybe don't know how to really just scope out the scene, because you can't just fly here and visit. While you can, especially right now, it's probably not the easiest thing to do. So you're probably looking up videos, you're looking up blogs and websites on where exactly you should live, and it's really hard to know and trust a random source online. So I know that for sure, because I wondered the same thing, and I lived in California. So for me to like feel like I had to just visit the city, I can imagine what it's like not being from the country and trying to put the pieces together of where exactly you should live. So let me just give you a kind of overview about the places to live in LA. First of all, it's a really, really huge location. So keep in mind, there's a ton of little cities in between the main big cities, and you probably want to look in those slightly smaller cities if you're looking for something more affordable. Now with that, I want to point out that if you find a place that is really suspiciously lower than all the other places you've been looking at, be careful, because while photos may look nice and that the apartment looks great and modern, the location is really the main issue. When you find a place that's a little too cheap, I feel that you're maybe not going to be in the safest neighborhood. I mean, it's all subjective, but that's just what I found when we were looking for a place to live, was that, most likely if it was a cheaper location, there was something to look further into. And the second thing is, if you're gonna move in a location, really plan out, refer back to the plan that you had for wanting to move to LA, why you want to live there, and that will help you determine what neighborhoods and what location is going to be better for you. Because there's the beach cities, and then there's downtown city high-rise life, which I don't recommend, and they have the main big West Hollywood location where there's just tons of nightlife, tons of diversity. It's like really popular place. So you have to factor in lifestyle with your living location, especially because of traffic. If you pick the wrong spot, you're gonna find yourself stuck in crazy unnecessary traffic just to get to work. Like, that wouldn't be smart. So make sure you're planning to have everything as close to your living location as possible. Okay, and then the fourth thing is, I know some people asked about where are some reliable places to find roommates. Unfortunately, I did not have to go through that, and I don't think I've ever had to go through that, because I've always either moved in with a friend or somebody that I knew already if I did have a roommate. So I wish I had a resource where I could show you guys where to find people to live with. But I would say consider having a roommate if you're wanting to just get yourself here and not spend a ton of money, because no joke, you guys, living by yourself in LA, especially in a decent safe area, is gonna be anywhere from like $2,500 and up. And that isn't even for like a super spacious place. For most locations we looked at in that price range, they were like some 450, 500 square feet, maybe 600, but it's a small location. So if you're wanting a little bit more space and wanting to save a little bit more money and just getting here quicker, you probably do want to find a roommate. If I find something, I'll leave it in the description box for you guys to check out. I cannot vouch for them myself, because again, I haven't personally been in that situation, but I will do my best to maybe ask around and keep you guys updated on that. But consider living with someone. I think it's a great option. It's very common out here to move in with people. I know tons of people who live with others and, friends, family, and they don't have issues, but just always be safe and do your research, of course. And lastly, it's more of a mindset tip. It's really just, be determined if you really want to move here. It's not easy. Like I said, moving anywhere is not going to be easy, but from someone who moved to another country, I promise you it's going to be okay. If you're not from you know, the USA and you're wanting to move to California, like I'm here to tell you it's very much possible. And you know, it might be a little bit of a headache in the beginning trying to get all of your paperwork together and arranging your flight and your, you know, your apartment. You know, it's all gonna be fine. I can promise you that. I've lived in another country and I can promise that it will be fine. So it's more of like a tip of just, you know, being due diligent and know exactly what you want, what's your budget, what kind of job you are willing to work to get your just feet wet and just start making money. Like I would recommend, you know, if you have to find another job, like maybe not necessarily a job you want, just to get here, that would be really, really smart, just so you have a way to transition smoothly. There's so much information on the internet that you can find to really look into, you know, as much information as possible. Just be wary of, just keep in mind, you know, who you're asking, because everybody has a different perspective, especially in a really big city like this. You know, people are gonna have different desires, different lifestyles. So, you know, you might be someone who really enjoys nightlife and you're looking for a place that suits that. And then if you go on a blog or forum and you ask, you know, someone maybe who's a family member and doesn't like noise at all might not have the same feedback that you would want. So if you're looking to get good advice, I would recommend asking people who have similar lifestyles to you or similar values at least. And I think that's very important. That's it for today's video. It's really short, but I just wanted to give you guys a few additional tips because again, you guys had some questions. If you still have questions about lifestyle in LA, I'd be more than happy to share. So leave a comment below and let me know. And if you guys enjoyed this video, you know what to do. Hit the thumbs up button. And until next time, guys, peace out.